Hi, I'm Allegra,
I'm Ita.
and we're Mama, and you're watching Consequence.
Hi, I'm Jonah from Consequence, and I'm here with Mama, our July Artist of the Month. Hey guys, how you doing?
Hello.
Doing good.
Well, obviously over here at Consequence, we're loving Household Name, great record. And to my ears, it's like the heaviest, fuzziest record you guys have put out yet. And I think it's funny that it kind of coincides with also the record that you guys are taking a couple shots or maybe having fun with some of the more weird stuff that goes on with the music industry. So I was wondering if that kind of contributed towards the heavier sound, a little frustration, or if it just was like a happy accident.
I feel like it was kind of a happy accident. Like, we definitely went into this record. Basically, when we finished the last record, we knew that we wanted the next one to be like super heavy, way louder, way more dialed in tone wise. And then I think it just kind of happened perfectly that this third record was kind of the one that we were like shopping out to labels and kind of felt like there was a lot more writing on it, like a lot more at stake. So I think it was just kind of the perfect combination of circumstance that was just like, okay, let's just make this record as good as it can be and like as big of an impact as it could be, I guess.
Totally. It's a perfect way to describe it. I always say like how we've really wanted to sound for a while and now we like have the means to do so. So it's cool.
That's awesome. I love that. And so obviously some of these heavier sounds are also coming from some classic like 90s alt rock acts, which a lot of them get some play even in the songs. You're name dropping, like Pavement songs and Smashing Pumpkin songs. So I'm curious, like out of all the influences that have been, mentioned in other interviews and stuff like that, like what were the records or songs that you guys were really listening to when you guys were working on this new record?
It's funny because I feel like there was such a progression because we were working on this for so long. So there was like such a weird conglomeration of different music we were listening to. I mean, like at the very beginning, we were really writing on like Nirvana. When we were
Sure.
recording play, we were super on a Blur and Oasis kick. Um,
Oh yeah, I've been saying to all my friends it's an Oasis summer. Like let's get on our bloke shit and just
I
go
love
for
that.
Oasis.
That's
They're
awesome.
for sure. Um, and then we were also listening to things like Frou Frou and Pinback and like kind of more random stuff, some Stereo Lab. Like I know that Aaron was really getting into like Avril Lavigne and Linkin Park, things like that. So like it's kind of a eclectic mix of a lot. Um,
Sure.
but yeah, that's probably like the main sources, main site.
Definitely.
That's great. And then speaking of, the two bands that get a lot of play in the lyrics, the Pavement reference and the Smashing Pumpkins reference, they kind of famously have a little bit of a feud. So that's I just found that interesting. Like, are you guys taking sides here? Or are you guys trying to bridge and make some peace between Steven and Billy?
Yeah,
Someone else someone else pointed that out recently, and that was the first time that we had ever like realized that we did that. I had no idea that we did that on accident.
yeah,
So definitely not taking any sides, Pavement. But yeah, that was an accident.
total. But yeah, it's funny because then it's like Page did the thing where they reference Smashing Pumpkins in one of their songs too. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, total accident, but like funny how it works like that.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah. And so then also just keeping going on about the 90s influences. Now it seems like the 90s are kind of back and have been for a while, especially in like the indie rock world. A lot of the people that y'all tour with, and I'm sure, took a little bit of inspo from as well, are bringing back kind of like the 90s vibes. Even like reading through the YouTube comments on your music videos are like, I remember the 90s and you guys are hitting the vibe like right on the right on the head. I was wondering what you guys think it is about that era of music that like just is speaking to all these people like me who I didn't live through the 90s, but I can't get enough of 90s music and I love all the 90s revivalism.
I mean, I think there's a lot about the decade. Obviously, it just produced like such great media and music and movies and style. Like everything about it is just spot on. But I mean, for us as a band, I feel like we've talked a lot about how the 90s kind of felt like the last era of like rock stars, you know?
Mm.
Like that was kind of the last, I mean, that was kind of the last time that MTV was really a music
Yeah.
network. And like the last time Steve Albini is ever going to be interviewed on MTV, you know? Like there
Yeah.
was just this era where you could be making indie alternative music and still have a lot of notoriety and be on the cover of magazines. And I feel like that really did die down after the 90s. And I don't know why. I'm not like a cultural historian, so I can't like put my finger on what the shift was. But I think for us as a band, like that was really intriguing and has been since we were teenagers.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I mean, and that makes sense with what you guys a lot of the songs on the record are kind of in reference to that. And so then kind of to that point, as kind of tongue in cheek as the record can be sometimes, you guys aren't shy about the fact that like, hey, like we're musicians and we want to be successful at it. And so I was wondering if you guys have ever gotten like pushback from fans or like other people in the scene that are like, oh, like you're selling out, or like any like, capital P punkers that are like, you can't say that you want to be famous. Like, what are you doing?
No, I think the most pushback we've ever gotten is being called an industry plant, which I think was,
Oh,
um, yeah, I don't think anyone's ever actually commented on that, honestly, which is cool because I think like the statement we're trying to make is like, I think Allegra said this perfectly once, which was just like, if you're making music and you don't want some type of success, or if you're making art in any way and you're not striving for success, you're just lying to yourself a little bit. You want to get recognized in some capacity. And I think that's funny. Like, I don't know. We don't take ourselves too seriously. So like being able to poke fun at it, I think is just like, honestly, probably an easy way for people to relate to exactly what is going on and hopefully, I don't know, make them do like try to get some type of success. Everyone deserves to have some type of recognition in their artwork. So, but yeah, that's funny. I like the punk reference.
Well,
Yeah.
I feel like the most punk thing of all time is like quitting your day job, right? Like
yeah.
there's like nothing more like that's sticking it to the man, like fuck you, I'm gonna go make money off my music. So I mean, I can't imagine that anyone would care enough about us to be like, they are not punk, they are not DIY. But I mean, to me, that's like, that is the mindset. That is the rock and roll mindset. Like, fuck working a 9 to 5 or working at a fucking restaurant. I'm gonna play my guitar and pay my bills,
Literally.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I've read that you guys don't see it in the cards per se that this record goes number one, when it drops in a week. But let's say that we're living, the last 20 years, MTV stuck to their music roots, and this record comes out and it's Nevermind. What are you guys doing to celebrate? Like, what's your I'm going to Disneyland moment if this record goes number one next week?
We're going to the bar and buying drinks for all of our friends. That's what's happening. We're I don't know, probably like most
probably walking into like a music store and like each buying a guitar like right off the shelf, just being like
Wayne's World style, like I'm taking this one today.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Book a flight to Japan and just step off the plane and everyone is freaking out.
Yeah, people are saying
that's great. That's great. And so the other thing that I found interesting about this record is I think I heard you guys somewhere say that you guys thought of this record as kind of like a summary record and like a road trip album. Did you guys set out to do that, or was it just when you guys were pulling all the tracks together that it was like, oh, this is kind of perfect that, let's drop in July and we're going on tour and it makes sense that we're we're going to be listening to it on the road.
I don't think we knew it was even going to drop in summer. So, yeah, but no, I think that that's just kind of like a part of honestly like who Allegra and I are and our personalities is like a lot of it has to do with like being out in the country and traveling and stuff. We take road trips all the time and things like that. So we really draw inspiration from driving. I think that's like a lot of the way that we also connected in our friendship, long drives to each other's houses and playing music. And I think the best feeling in the world is being able to share like a song or a feeling while driving on the freeway at night, windows rolled down, you're blasting like Carry the Zero or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just such a good vibe. So I think that just kind of naturally happened in terms of our like the sounds of our songs on this record.
Great. And so you mentioned Carry the Zero. Do you guys have go-tos when you're just like, all right, we're on a road trip. We know which album we're putting up first.
Yeah. Well, in terms of songs, Ethan and I both love this song called Muscle Cars by Wussy. That is like the ultimate like freeway jam duet, sing at the top of your lungs. Such a good song. If you don't know it, highly recommend. And then in terms of albums, we always put on Alex G Rocket whenever we're like going on long desert drives. That's like such a good road trip album.
Totally.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. All right. Well, as long as we're talking about how the record deals with fame and, going out there and if the record was going to get to number one, I was curious on your guys' take on kind of how that is now. Because, the record kind of looks back at what the romanticization of, the 90s rock star. So what do you guys think of the current landscape in terms of, what's topping the charts, how people are getting there, the whole like, especially recently with the whole TikTok, my label isn't letting me release blank blank debacles. Are you guys into the game at all? Do you guys have to take a stance against it?
I don't really understand the game, honestly, because like most of this TikTok fame that's happening is happening like years and years after songs have come. Like it's completely random. Like even with like the Kate Bush running up that hill, crazy to me. Like not to be this person because there's millions of other people that are being me right now, but like I fucking love that song since I was 12 years old. And now I feel like I can never listen to that song again. But yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of friends that have gotten huge success later on in the game because of TikTok. Like we're close friends with Surf Curse, and Freaks has been a song for I don't know 10 years. Like how old is that song? And now all of a sudden it's huge. It's like 400 million plays on Spotify. So anyway, I don't really understand the game. I don't understand where this comes from because it doesn't seem like it's like this really strategic, like, okay, we're going to drop the song and then do this TikTok campaign and it's going to be famous and it's like down to a science. It just seems completely random. Yeah. So,
I mean, also like it's on the flip side of like also a brand new band coming out with a brand new song and just it exploding like Wet Leg, for example. Like that's fucking nuts. They didn't even have like when we went out with them, they didn't have an album out yet and they were selling out 1,200 cap in America. It's like that's just like so crazy to me. And it's, I mean, don't get me wrong, their songs are great and they write really, really amazing like pop songs, I think, in terms of like the catchiness. So it makes sense of how infectious it is, but it's also just so crazy to me that that's like all of a sudden you're just chilling. Like you can do what you need to do, quit your day job. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy how that happened. So, I don't understand it either. I'm also not TikTok, so I don't really like not hip to the game.
So you mentioned that, contrary to popular belief, you're not an industry plant. You've been doing this for a little bit. And one of the things that is like impresses me the most about you guys is the fact that you guys made it through college being, you know, separated by states and continuing with Momma. You know, as someone who's been in college bands and, you know, lost touch with high school friends, like I can't fathom how you guys pulled that off. And, you know, organizing tours and stuff like that. I mean, was it hard? Was there moments where it's like, you know, like this is maybe not worth the amount of effort we're putting in, or maybe we should just take a break for 4 years and then see what happens later? Or just how did you guys pull that off?
It's definitely challenging. I don't think there was ever a moment where we wanted to stop doing it though. I mean, like when we were separated, we were also like individually making our own, had our own projects going on.
Yeah.
So that kind of helped in terms of like the consistency of playing music while separated. But then there's certain things where like Allegra would, or like me or Allegra would write a chord progression like in our dorm and send each other a voice memo and be like, I think this should be a Momma song versus this should be like a song that I'm personally writing.
Yeah.
I just like, I don't know. Also, like Allegra and I are besties. That's my sister. Like, you know what I mean? Like that, and music and writing together is such an integral part of that. So like, I just don't think that there was a moment, at least for me, where I was like, I don't want to do this. The only thing that really sucked was like, we'd get offers for a really cool tour or something, and we'd have to be like, well, not going to make it work within our schedules, or like we literally can't practice. We're not in the same. But yeah, and I mean, we did have like a few like one-off shows that were just like really cool opportunities. So we were like, we're booking a ticket right now. We're flying to and have one practice, and then we'll play the show, and then we're going to come back. Like stuff like that we couldn't really miss out on. But there is a lot that I'm just so happy like we're all out of school now, because we can really just focus on this and dedicate our time to it in the way that I think we've all really meant to do for a while.
I think it was fairly recently. You had that cool like gushy enemy post about how great you guys are live. So like what your priorities are live, how you translated these new songs back into, you know, a live set.
Yeah, I mean, we were basically ready to go with these songs live like the second the record was done, because we had rehearsed so much. Like I think for a month we were rehearsing live maybe 2-3 days a week. So we were like ready to go, full steam ahead. And just recently we've started playing around with some like tracks live, which is really weird because that is not anything we've ever tried, but it sounds kind of cool. not like vocal tracks or anything insane, but just kind of certain samples that make the song. We've kind of started playing around. But yeah, I don't know. I think we just kind of invested in our sound a little bit, and like invested in gear and pedals and stuff, and kind of honed in on our guitar tones and kind of like the flow of our live set, not taking 5 minutes in between every song to tune and like whatever, just kind of practicing, like just giving them a show. I think that's also because we have done a lot of support tours too. So you have to just get up there and play and then get off and make a good impression.
Yeah, I think what's going to be fun, because we're in the middle of practicing for these like next 2 tours, is not just the tracks. Like the tracks, we're playing around with like the breakbeaty stuff that you can't really accomplish just on a drum set, and things along those lines. But we're also going to add an acoustic guitar to the mix, I believe. So that's really fun in terms of like really trying to achieve the sound of the record on certain tracks. Should be cool to see how that works.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think you're blowing around. I'm in Ohio right now, so and I think y'all are blowing around Ohio soon. So I'm hoping to catch that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Hell yeah.
So as you know, we're coming to a close here. I've referenced a bunch of other interviews that you guys have done recently, warranted because of how good of music you guys are putting out. So it seems like as your profile is growing a little bit, you're kind of hitting the media circuit a little bit. You might start be getting a little bit of the taste of being household names. So I was wondering, how it feels compared to, you know, where it was in the last two records. And if it keeps going up, where do you think it's going to go?
Doesn't really feel any different right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because like it's just funny because it is really cool. Like we're getting a lot of really dope opportunities and talking to cool people and meeting cool people and like all this stuff. And it's very fun and like pretty surreal. Like tell us we were doing this a few years ago and we wouldn't have believed you. But I mean, it's just this weird thing where it doesn't feel different because like I think we keep on setting the bar like higher for ourselves and wanting to grow and climb that ladder. You know what I mean? So I think there's always something to look forward to. It feels like it's not really been enough just yet. But yeah, hopefully the thing that I want to do the most is just like tour and do like a festival circuit because like we've never really played festivals and I think that'd be so fun. And I want to do Europe and travel and kind of just get out of the States a little bit and meet people in different countries. It's awesome.
Well, that's so cool. I'll leave it off with, if there's anything else you guys would like to mention about the new record, any specific cool tour or show dates you guys want to plug, anything like that? Any hints at what's coming after Household Name? If you want to give us a big scoop.
No hints because we have not gotten that far yet, actually. Definitely buy tickets to our Music Hall of Williamsburg show in Brooklyn, New York, October 8th. If you are in the city, that's about it. That's kind of the important one. And buy the record and listen to every song because there's some good songs on there that are not singles.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it. Momma, July Artist of the Month.
Woo!
Hell yeah. Thank you so much.